Okay, so this question on vectors actually makes in some hot job. So I think a lot of people get stuck if you couldn't mix the idea. So actually what I will always do will be when I first see the question, I will draw out first. I will draw out first so that I can visualize, I can put the information in. Okay, and if I look at the information here, there is a coordinate in the information. There is also vectors in the information. I will convert the coordinate to position vector. So I will have convert the coordinate to position vectors. So if I see that there's a mix of vectors and coordinate, then I will change it to position vectors. The first part is very easy. It's just the use of your length formula. So do you remember that in chord jog, there is a length formula? So you subtract the y coordinate, subtract the x coordinate. So that is the length formula. So there's no trick. So some of you are not even answering this question. So they ask for length. I have some people who gave me vectors, which I don't understand why. The question says length of AB. So isn't it you got the coordinate? Isn't that just the length formula in your chord jog? And for part B, it is also a chord jog idea. Because in chord jog, you learn about equation. So equation of a straight line will be mx plus c. So we are dealing with parallelogram. So parallelogram has a lot, has same gradient, right? And opposite are the same length. So I will need the gradient of CD because I want the equation of CD, so I need the gradient of CD. However, in this case, because you are dealing with parallelogram, so gradient of CD can also be found by the gradient of AB. And you already gotten the coordinates. So using these coordinates, you apply the gradient formula. So the gradient formula is just the y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So once you got the gradient, your equation will be almost there. But you need either, once you get your gradient, you need C or you need D. You need any point that's on the straight line. Common sense will tell you that. So you need either of the point. So in this case, right, we are going to use our position vector. That means I will either find OC or I find OD. So this is the use of your vectors. So we got a vectors that's given. We also got a converted position vector. So from the coordinate, I got the position, the position vectors. So I can find my OC. Do you still remember fill in the blank? So this part, we specifically do it in in example 4 and 5 of your vectors teaching worksheet 1. So we use vectors to find a coordinate. So I found the position vector OC, and then this is an indication that C is 4, 3. So I'm going to put the C into the equation, and that's how I get the mx plus C. So it's something that is very standard. Whenever we want to find equation of a straight line, it's always mx plus C. And we get the gradient first, and after that, we try to find a point. So in this case, the gradient is quite straightforward, but the coordinate is a bit tricky because you need your position vectors. So that's how I gotten it, coordinate through the position vectors and get the equation. So the next one, subsequently, this one, a lot of people get stuck. Okay, when you get stuck in this, right, you need to remember what you already have. So by the time you come to part C, again, you better draw. You draw to visualize where is X. you draw the parallelogram first, and you make the diagonal cut the X. Okay, and then you also need to remember, by now, what will you have? You already got the column vector, and you got the position vector, you got OB, you also got OA, and in fact, here you also got your OC. So you do need to be aware what you have by the time you are here. Okay, so the next, in this question, I'm supposed to find XC. So by the property, we know that this is the midpoint. So X is actually the midpoint of AC. So you can see that this is 1 unit, and this whole AC is 2 units. So I should try to find my AC first. So I'm going to use this idea. XC is actually half of AC. So this is the main idea that I'm using. So I will find my AC by filling in the blank. And then subsequently, I can find my XC. And once I find my XC, later on, my OX is actually quite simple. So OX, I can just try to fill in the blank. You look at what you have. You got a lot of things here already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of these 5 items, what can you fill in the blank with? So I can fill in the blank with X and OC. If you can have XC and CX, they are just so just remember XC and CX, right, is a negative away. So it's quite easy. So if you can have XC, you can have CX with a sign difference. So it's actually not that difficult if you really like sit it through, draw it out, you find that there's still a lot of fill in the blanks for this whole question.